guys, so today we're going to be looking at my newest custom set, being the Eadu Imperial Facility. Now this is of course based on Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and I guess this is technically my biggest project yet. This took me, well, it's kind of been on and off for the past, I guess, month really, but the last big one I did was really Sid's Parlor, and this is another big one. And I'm really excited to show you guys this, and I do hope you enjoyed it. So please like the video if you enjoy, because it did take me a while. Now this set would be $100 if it was a real set. It has 973 pieces, so a pretty hefty one. We've got 6 minifigures and we'll be getting into that very shortly. We'll start with figures and then we'll show off the build. So that's going to be how it rolls. I do a lot of custom sets here on the channel, but I do show them off on my Instagram more often, so please go check that out if you do enjoy this video. Without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start with the figures, as I said, and there are 6, as I already said. You can see a basic outline there, but we're going to go through each and every one of these. Some of them has some custom printing, and some of them don't, but do fit the scene well. There are also some figures that I did want to include, but I couldn't for some specific reasons, which I'll get into later. However, yeah, let's move on to the figures, and I really do, again, hope you enjoy this video. So the first figure up is Jyn Erso, based on her Eadu attire. Now, sadly, the poncho element is not available in Mecabricks, which is what LEGO used, so I was kind of forced to do this approach, which I used the Unkar's thug torso turned around, and then I added a cape element, as well as a bag element, and I think it works okay. I also have a new hair hat combo there, which does work a bit better, I think, as well as a face print, which I didn't create. I'm not specifically sure where it's from though, but I do think that it really suits Jyn well. Like, it looks a lot like her, surprisingly, and again, I'm not too sure where it's from. I presume Harry Potter or something, as that's kind of what the vibes it gives me. And then of course we've just got some black legs. Again, a pretty basic figure here, but I do think that it's very important for the scene. And let's move on now to Director Krennic. Now this one is pretty much unchanged from the LEGO version, even though the Eadu attire is slightly different. The only thing I changed was adding the hat, and I think it works perfectly fine. I did give him dual molded legs, and I also gave him the hair piece there, which is nice, just to have along the side so that you can change however you want. I think that it's a nice thing to have included. However, he does basically wear the hat for the whole thing. But yeah, overall this figure is great by LEGO, so I just decided to include it since all the parts were in Mecabricks. Sadly, the head does not have a dual face print, so there is no angry expression on the outside, but that does actually work really well with the hat there, because then instead, if you look behind, there'd be a big gaping mouth, which would look really weird. So that turned out to be great. And overall, the Krennic does work really well from LEGO, and obviously it is a very essential character for the scene. I think the most essential character is Galen Erso here, and he would be an exclusive figure to the set. He does have a custom printed torso, but the head and the hair is not exclusive. Maybe the hair is in that color, but the hair is Clone Wars Anakin's, which I think works really well. Also, the head is old Luke's, except in a darker skin tone, and I think that it does work really well. Like, when I put that reference picture there, I think that it does work well there. For some other reference pictures it doesn't work as well, but I do like how that looks with that in particular. Also, the torso is pretty similar to some other minifigures coming up, but I do think that it works pretty well, and it is a pretty basic one that I'm happy with. I also gave him just some leg printing. It's not custom printed, it's just the normal Imperial one, just in the dark green, and I think there will be some debate on the color scheme here, but dark green is the one that I chose, and I think that it works the best. It's like the most accurate. There is no LEGO color that really fits the suit, but I do think that dark green works the best, and it definitely is better than going with the grey. I know that I should have included arm printing, but sadly this was not the reference image I was using, but that definitely would be a nice thing to have on the figure. Next up is a figure I don't need to talk much about, but this is like a Imperial Gunner. However, the headpiece is not in Mecabricks, but the torso print is, so I just added an Imperial cap, so it's basically just an Imperial crew member, and I think that this works pretty well as a figure for a feature of the set, which you'll see soon, and that's basically why I included him. But you know, he works well. He's definitely an essential figure once you see the set, and I'm very happy that I could just include him, and there was nothing holding me back from it apart from that helmet. Next up are two figures which are both Imperial scientists, and they do have custom torsos that are similar to Galen's, but they are slightly different. They also have arm printing with the Imperial emblem, and they do have the Science Division logo on their shirt. But I do really like how this came out. Like, I like the color there. Again, there was not a color that like perfectly represents it, but this one is pretty close. It looks a bit weird in the lighting, but like in studio it does work quite well. But yeah, I'm really happy with these figures. They both have some different old man faces. One is the old Han Solos, and one is a comic book Vulture, one from like 2015. But yeah, overall, I am really happy with these figures. Like, I think they're the figures I'm the most happy with in the set, just because I really like how that torso came out. And I know it's really basic, but it does work quite well. And here's a group shot of all the figures together. I know that they usually do these for like CMFs and not sets, but I always like tend to do these and I really like doing them. But it just really looks cool to me, and I do hope that you enjoy these, and let me know which figure is your favorite. But I think now we're going to be getting into the build. The set contains 974 pieces, and if it was a real set it would retail for at least $100 US. However, it could definitely be a bit more as there are a lot of large parts. But yeah, let's go on to some of the other features of the set, because there are quite a lot of rooms and little exterior bits and a few little functions, so we're going to be getting into all of those little details now. The main play function of the set is on the landing pad, where you can blow up Galen Urso. There's a little twist thing at the bottom there which you can see. Now there is a lot of rock and bricks down there, which doesn't look ideal, but it is necessary for the function, and you twist that and then the thing knocks up and knocks out 4 of those 3x3 plates, which you can put Galen on, and it just, you know, simulates that bomber scene and Galen Urso's death. So that's the main function that I wanted to include, and I have obviously included. Obviously I haven't done this in real life, so I'm not sure if it would work, though I think that it would work quite well and be a nice enough play function. Each side of the build is a ladder, which is for Jyn Erso to climb up onto the platform, just like in the movie. This doesn't actually go straight to the platform, but I did really want to include the ladders, and it does, I think, well, it's a ladder, so it's pretty basic enough, and it's just a nice thing to have on the side, and it doesn't take up much room, so I'm definitely happy that it's included there, and it looks nice with Jyn on it. At the top of the build is a platform where you can place multiple figures. There's also a control panel, and there's also a handrail which is also at the bottom there, on the bottom level. There's also obviously a big turret, which is accurate to obviously the Eadu Imperial base, and we'll get into that more later on in the video, and there's actually some interior to that, but there's also just like behind the platform there, some more rocks to just show the mountain, which obviously this base is built into. Flipping the whole set around, we can see the interior, so it's obviously open back, which I do like the feature of, especially for this set, and this one I think was the most fun part to make, as I had a lot of creativity, because we never actually see the interior in the movie, so it's kind of a weird thing to base things on, but I am really happy with it, and I'll go through all the different rooms here, but there are 6 of them really, and I'm really happy with all of them. Each of them hold a little something, which is nice, so some of them aren't really as necessary as the others, but I still like including them. At the bottom level there isn't much at all, just a few crates, and this place only really exists to elevate the platform at the front. Otherwise this wouldn't really be here, and there is not much use to it, apart from just showing some little crates off, and I guess you can put a figure or 2 down there. Above that is really a small little hallway where you can fit a few troops for them to kind of run out into the scene. There's also a few guns there just on the side, and it's really quite small, but it's definitely worth including, as it's also an accurate thing to the actual base. Next to that is a much larger space, which is mostly occupied by a big Kyber crate, which featured in a lot of Rogue One sets, and I used the exact same design Lego did because it's pretty good there. You can fit a lot of troops in here, and it's really just an extension to the kind of walkway out there, which is really nice. There's also a printed thing there, and I was going to do a custom print, but then I found this one, which is actually from the Republic frigate set, and it works pretty well. I was going to do an incoming thing for Krennic Shuttle, but that would have taken so long, and I think this one works pretty well to get the idea, and it kind of looks like a base layout almost. There's also a tiny little control panel below that, and right above the crate there is an Empire logo. Now is also probably a good time to mention that a mouse droid's included in the set. The next room is probably my favourite, and this is Galen's room. Again, this is completely made up, though I'm sure it does probably exist. There is a bed there which is in the same colours as the Imperial scientists. We've also got a wooden drawer, which I enjoyed. There's also under the bed a hidden thing for the Death Star plans, which I thought was a nice Easter egg. There's also a camera included, which is kind of an Easter egg for Galen's message to Jyn that she sees on Jeddah. I've really wanted to include that just as a recording device to show how he did that. And there's also a Coruscant poster there, which is a custom print, just saying Coruscant and showing Coruscant. And I like that, kind of almost like an Imperial propaganda, but also a reminder to Galen that they lived there once. To the left is a pretty basic room with an eating area, and I kind of took inspiration for adding this from the in-game Final Battle set, which included a similar room, and you can see there I just have the 2 Imperial scientists with some cups there, or mug pieces in a transclear colour, and there's also a window which is also on both of Galen's room and this eating area. It's a pretty basic thing, but I thought it would be a nice thing to include, and you can put any figures you want there on it, maybe even Krennic and Galen if you really wanted to. And the final technically room is the turret. Now you can pull off the whole roof, and there's also a thing at the back that you can pull down almost like a door, and then you can put the gunner inside and there's a little control panel. You can also of course swivel the turret, and obviously the cannon part can also move up and down, so there's a lot of posability with that I'm sure kids will enjoy playing with, especially if they also have like a TIE fighter or a Y-wing to go along with this set. And here's a shot like LEGO does where everything's kind of included. Obviously I haven't taken off everything, like obviously all the crates are still on the build and a few mugs could also be present there, but all the figures there are out and it kind of shows the build from that angle, and I do like doing shots like that. And here's the box art. Now I obviously made this before the 2022 sets were revealed that showed different box art, but I do think that this one also fits, and I do like having the Darth Vader there, because I guess that does also fit for a Rogue One thing. And yeah, it's pretty basic, but it does show off everything. And yeah, that's it for my Eadu Imperial Facility mock and custom set. I really do hope you've enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed making it, so I really do hope you guys enjoy it, and leave a like if you did. However, that will be all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe. That'll be all folks. Goodbye.